Hello lovely wild hearts, it's Lisa here. It's New Year's Eve and I'm sitting here at my desk. I decided to do some journaling. I'm actually doing a 10-day writing retreat at the moment. How are you doing? How are you feeling about 2024 coming in, the new year? Are you feeling the excitement of the new energies? Are you looking forward to letting go of 2023? I thought I would pull some cards for us today. I already pulled them off camera and I wanted to share with you an excerpt from my journal. Look at this beautiful journal that my friend bought me for Christmas. It's really lovely. And in here I've written, I'm going to read you this morning's excerpt. So on this course we have sparks every day, and a spark is a poem. We had 2 poems that were read to us today, and we're to pick up lines in the poem that speak to us and then write on those. And I do this in my journaling practice. So if you've been to one of my journaling classes, you know that I use the cards as prompts. Oh, just knocked the camera there. I use the cards as prompts to spark off that creativity, to speak to your intuition, to speak to your soul. So the line of the poem, or the lines from the poem that spoke to me this morning were, every harbour a pause in his journey, every dock was temporary, he never sailed in harmony with life, floating a middle passage between here and there. So that spoke to me because it was about not being present in the now and being very, rushing around. And that reminds me actually of a poem that I wrote over here. Let me read you this one. Running out of time, rushing, jumping to the next shiny thing, wondering what's next, not present in this moment, not standing still. Rushing or running away from what's inside, the chaos, the truth, the river of feelings that flood you inside. What if I drown? But what if you swim or float along in the moment? Let the water hold you. Trust yourself to be. Yes, simply be yourself. Who else are you trying to be? Anything but who I am? Who is that then? A girl who is afraid of getting it wrong. If you're being yourself, then you cannot be wrong. Then how will I know if I am me? You will feel free, light. You will smile and delight at what is happening now. In the glimmers of life is where you find yourself. So that was what I wrote around that. But this other poem, this other line, let the grief that is telling you stories is not invited to stay. Let the love you don't know how to give anymore dance out of you another way. And often when we're grieving, creativity is the key to releasing all that love with nowhere to go. So for New Year's Eve, I want to read to you what I wrote this morning, and that's remembering today that so much of life is temporary, and this too shall pass, all of it, part of life's rich tapestries that weave together to create you, brave you, tenacious you, lovely you that has kept on weaving in spite of the darkness, the lonely loss and the hurt. Not all hurt people hurt people. You, my friend, weave on, generous you, kind you, lovely you that wants the best for others, even when they cannot see it for themselves. You hold the light as we float down the river of life together. You give love to ease the way, remembering today that love is also for you and is there whenever you need it. For you are love, eternally. So just notice how you're feeling. Maybe put your hand on your heart, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in, and notice how you're feeling in the moment as you receive those words. And if you have your journal close by, you can take out your journal and riff on what I have said and see which lines of my writing resonate with you, and then you can do the same exercise in your journal. And so what we will do now is have a look at the cards. Let me just take a slurp of my tea. I've not long been up and you've got my morning voice. Lucky you! I'm still in my pyjamas. This is how we roll. Isn't it nice to just have this Twixmas, have these days in between Christmas and New Year where we can be. And that's what I think this reading is about. But I wonder what makes it hard for us to be. So let's have a look at the cards and see what they're showing us. So today I'm using Believe in Your Own Magic by Amanda Lovelace. That's this card. I'm using The Good Tarot by Colette Reid. And I'm also using the Spirit Animal cards by Colette Reid. And then underneath these cards, I'm using Synchronicities by Cathy Nichols. I love Cathy Nichols' work. She's an artist and her artwork is beautiful, but it also sparks off my intuition, I think. So we're always drawn to cards. We always choose cards that resonate with us. So when you come to one of my journaling classes, I normally have 3 card decks and I say pick a number between 1, 2 and 3. And I don't show you the card decks because I believe that your intuition already knows the answer before you do. And then whatever card deck you pick and whatever card comes out when we shuffle live in the class is what you will end up journaling on. But we all answer the same question. It's the magic of creativity in writing and the mystery of it too. It is a mystery. Okay, so today's card is number 22. 22 is a master number and New Year's Eve is a portal. It's an energetic portal to the new. This says, library, take control of your own narrative. So maybe you feel controlled by something or someone. Often I think we feel controlled by our own thoughts and feelings. And so I think the new year is about taking back our power. I'm drawn to this word library because obviously I love books and libraries. Drop me a book in the comments below if you do as well, if you're a bookworm. But she's kind of teetering on the book. Oh, you know what this reminds me of? Recently, I've been back writing my own books, and this is why I embarked on this 10-day writing retreat. I also wanted to become a student and not be the teacher, because I'm always the teacher, and you are always the student when you're a teacher. But I said to a friend when I went out walking the other day that I felt as though I was teetering around the edge of my story and not fully committing myself. And that came from a place of not trusting myself. Oh no, my throat chakra's going. More tea as I say that. And on closer inspection, I could trust myself. That was an old lie, an old story that I was telling myself that was no longer true. A story that had been told to me by the adults around me growing up. I couldn't trust myself with money. I would spend it all. I couldn't trust my own thoughts and feelings because I was being gaslit. And people who gaslight you, so who try and control your reality by telling you that what you think or feel is wrong. So it was about letting go of the lie, letting go of the old stories that no longer work for me. So what else are you getting from this card? And there's a magic around her. Like, look at all these sparkles. Look at all these wonderful sparkles. And if you guys have looked at my videos on here called How to Get Your Sparkle Back, there's a whole training, free 4-part video training that you can download. But really you want to cut. I feel like I want to cut those strings, like cut those strings and fall into this blank page where I can write my own stories. Maybe not fall, maybe gently just sit. Because, you know, our stories create our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings about ourselves. And a lot of the things that we've been taught about ourselves growing up are projections of our narcissistic parents, our emotionally immature parents. They're not true of who we are. And part of healing is really diving into the middle of all of this and working out who you are and getting to know yourself and meeting yourself. So that's the first card. Let's pop that down there a minute. We might come back to that later. Now, we're going to look at the spirit animal cards first. So I'm going to turn them all over, I think. And then we'll look at the tarot underneath to clarify. I always use the tarot. I use oracle cards first and then tarot to clarify. When you come to one of my classes, I keep it simple with one card because I think you can get so much inspiration and messages from one card. But when I'm reading for you collectively, I feel like I need a bit more assistance because there'll be lots of you listening and, you know, you have lots of different experiences of life. So the first card is the shaman or the shaman. This feels like such a big energy, this huge protective bear who holds the energy between Earth, Mother Nature, and the stars and the planets. And shamanism is about tapping into spiritual realms. I remember I went to see a shaman once and she wafted a feather around. I think the feather is symbolic. If you're a shaman listening to this, please tell us what the feather represents. And she played drums and chanted, and she went back to retrieve the lost parts of my soul. So when we are traumatized, our soul or our psyche is fragmented into little pieces, and healing is about bringing those pieces back together. And it's also about finding this balance between being a human being on earth and also being part of other realms, tapping into our intuition and sensing other energies. And if you are an empath, a wild heart, highly sensitive person, you quite possibly will flip between these two. But sometimes you can find a balance. Like, I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time up here in other realms with spirits and and the planets and the energy that's around me, as opposed to having my feet firmly on the ground. So there's something here about balancing the two, but this is big energy and it feels like you are protected. So whether you have an ancestor around you, someone who's in spirit, or a spirit, or your spiritual team, or your spirit guides, or you have someone in your life on earth plane, you have a mentor, a guide, a loving parent, and perhaps you are that loving parent to yourself. Perhaps you're reparenting yourself. I think in order to tap into these energies, we're being asked to slow down. So speed is reversed here. And that's very, that echoes the poem that I read to you at the beginning of the reading, about being in the here and now and being able to slow down enough to balance these two energies, which then connects you to your intuition. Your intuition is your inner knowing, your wise owl, the part of you that knows, and we can only hear our inner knowing when we slow down and get quiet. So when you come to the journaling class, we spend the first part of the class warming up and releasing all of that inner critic chatter, that noise in our heads, so that we can get to the gold, get to the treasure beneath the surface, which is the voice of our higher self or our intuition. And intuition speaks to us in many ways. Oh, I love the flowers and the colours on this card. What are you drawn to? That's the moon. That could be the sun also. The moon is represented by your intuition in the tarot deck, so it's more likely to be the moon, but it can be whatever you make it. But our intuition speaks to us in symbols, in colours. The colour of your intuition is actually this purpley colour, like it's your third eye, which is between in your forehead, between your two eyes. But I think it can be a gut feeling, a knowing. It can be a song that comes into your head. You can see something out and about. And that's why you need to slow down, so you can observe what's going on around you, and then you can let your intuition speak, because there are signs everywhere. The universe or life is always talking to us, and it's how we hear that and interpret it. And again, we're back to the teacher. So very much this shaman and teacher energy, I feel, want to come together. Notice the colours, the yellows, and they're very similar. It's reminding me of that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And as I was saying to you, I wanted to experience this writing class because I wanted to be the student again and not always the teacher. But I'm feeling like, do you feel like you want to learn something this year? Do you feel like you're looking for a mentor or a guide to come into your life because you've hit a rocky patch? Let's have a look at these other spirit animal cards that have come in. Underneath the shaman here, we've got chameleon spirit, act as if. Acting as if is just showing up as you would like yourself to be. And they think that if you keep acting like that person, then you will become them. I'm more drawn to the colours on this card. Again, it's the purples, which for me go with the intuition. But also, I feel like the chameleon is adaptable to change. It changes its colours, doesn't it? It changes its colours depending on its environment. So there's something about being flexible and being adaptive. And look, for many of us that have trauma, we can be very rigid in our lives. We can be rigid in controlling our environments and wanting things to be the way that we like them because that helps us be safe. But there's something about slowing down and loosening up and just allowing our spirit to be. I think if you acted as if, then you would just be yourself. But it's all the noise in your head, isn't it? What the voices in your head tell you can and can't do. And some of those are social filters, but lots of those are voices from the past, which are shaming and keeping you small and are quite negative. So what do you get when you look at the chameleon spirit card? It's number 14. 14th of February is my date of birth, Valentine's Day. So there's a self-love in here around being more flexible, like sort of ebbing and flowing with the river of life instead of being so rigid and controlled. Because actually, when you are controlling, and it goes back to taking control of your own narrative, but it's not in this rigid way. It's in a way of letting go and allowing, because in allowing and giving space for the magic and the mystery of life to come in. This person that was controlling you before was being rigid. You don't need to copy that. You can be more fluid and more relaxed in your approach. I mean, if you've got boundaries, then you are in control of your life. Oh, look, that's the armadillo. That reminds me of the episode of Friends where Ross dresses as an armadillo. Is it Ross? Healthy boundaries. And the number 3 is about expansion, and boundaries do allow you to expand and feel more confident because you know where your edges are. You can say no to people. You can not take on their stuff. You don't absorb their energy. If you have boundaries, you can be come a chameleon. Who knows that song by Boy George? They come and go. Yeah, so just... it's like weaving, isn't it? Weaving. Coming and going, just allowing. And if you've got your boundaries, if you know where your edges are, and you're listening to your intuition, you're guided by that, you will be allowed to be more flexible. Isn't it funny that underneath the card of speed in reverse, we've got the antelope spirit, life is speeding up. No, life wants you to slow down. Slow down. How many of us like rushing around? I was writing yesterday about always rushing to the next thing. Like you finish one thing, you don't even stop and appreciate what you've put into it or the work you've done or what's happened. You just rush on to the next thing. So what do you get? And also, I'm drawn to the antelopes. Are they horns? But that's making me think of a bull with horns, and that's making me think, slow down and don't be so rigid, so stubborn. So, I mean, it's good to be tenacious. It's good to keep on keeping on, but you don't need to hold on. Let go. There's something about letting go in here. And then the last one, and I didn't know what a bobcat was, a bobcat spirit. Life is a mystery. Yes, the mystery of life. So it is about being comfortable with not knowing what's coming next, but anticipating the excitement of that and knowing that anything is possible. And that's brilliant, isn't it? But it's being brave enough to face that anything is possible and letting go and not feeling like you have to control it like you were controlled in the past. So underneath these animal cards are tarot cards. So let's just have a look at these. Oh, so here we've got the Tower card, which is a major arcana. Tower is when Spirit sends in something to kind of rattle the foundations of your life. Like in the classic tower card, people are falling out of this tower that's on fire, and it's like a pivotal moment where change is enforced upon you, which is why I always say to people, do the work on yourself, connect to your spirit, journal, be with yourself, go within, because when these tower moments come in, you will feel confident enough to deal with them. But I'm wondering if you feel like you need a guide with that. Now in this tower card, we don't have people falling out of a building. We have a rather beautiful, magnificent house. It's reminding me of Brighton Pier. It's reminding me of being by the seaside, all these greens and blues. And this for me is connecting into grief, because I lost someone this year who lived by the seaside, but I don't know what that symbolises for you. If there is a tower moment, if there is an enforced change that's coming along that's linked to your home or to the seaside, there's this huge rock in front of it, but it has a doorway. So our grief is a portal, or this tower moment, this change is a portal. It's inviting us to step in, to step through and find out what's on the other side. So let's pop that card there. Isn't that funny? We've got 14 there and 16 there and then 2 there. 14 plus 2 makes 16. Does that sound like Carol Vorderman on Countdown? Maths is not my strong point. But I am... Just notice what you're drawn to on the cards. Like, there's no right or wrong way to read, but it's great to notice what you're drawn to. So here we've got the 6 of water. Yes. Oh my goodness. With this... this is the 6 of Cups in the tarot. This is about nostalgia and the inner child. So for me, this is about if we're gonna get healing and we're gonna go back in time, we need to be connected to the inner child. Perhaps you had days out by the seaside. Perhaps you knew someone that lived by the seaside, a grandparent, an auntie, or someone that used to go and visit. The water also represents our emotions. That's the nostalgia bit. And it can also be the grief in conjunction with this card. Grief is really in all endings, and it's just snot bubbles and water coming out of your eyes, isn't it? And that washes away the pain of the grief, the pain of the loss, and the hurt of not having that person in your life anymore. Let's see what's under the armadillo spirit. Oh, just knocked the camera again. I've got a new camera set up. I've managed to get one of these overhead cameras, and I'm standing up so that I can see it as I talk to you, because that feels like the best way to do it. Oh, so here we've got the Sun, which is actually the card of the inner child, and this is a major arcana. And look, that it's funny, isn't it? I was saying that intuition could be the moon or the sun, and the sun is right underneath that. And I feel like this is you shining. This is you coming into your own. This is you finding your confidence after loss and grief and nostalgia. And it's maybe in terms of the inner child, remembering what you loved to do when you were a kid. What did you love to do? What did you love to do? See, I love to write, and I'm reconnecting with my writing this year because I absolutely love to write. But what lights you up? What brings you joy? What makes you happy? Remember, if you want to journal on any of these cards and use them as journal prompts, I invite you to do that, because there'll be gold in there as you write. And the more you write and the more you get into your writing, the more you'll get the answers that you're seeking. And if you're putting off your writing, if you're putting off your journaling, don't think about journaling. Just sit down and journal about why you're putting it off. Just tell the truth to yourself. It's really interesting because this person who I lost, who lived by the sea, used to say, "Come on out, sunshine." And I feel like she's here, guiding this reading. Oh, I feel quite emotional. Yeah, I feel like she's here guiding this reading. I've got goosebumps now. Oh, yes, she was a ray of sunshine. She was an amazing person. And then the last tarot card here is the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is the teacher in the tarot. So this person who died was my teacher. She taught me how to bake. She taught me how to knit, how to sew. She encouraged me with my writings and encouraged me to write my poems. So I want to say thank you, Gladys, to you today, because you're here. And that's confirmation that my writing, that you're watching me write and you're here with me. Oh, people, I wasn't expecting that. Who is your teacher? Who is your teacher? Who is your guide? Who do you look to? I mean, we all have our own inner guru, our own inner guide, but going back to the inner child, this is about who in your life growing up, this is a great journal prompt, who in your life growing up was there to show you the way, to teach you, to draw your sunshine out of you, to draw out of you the goodness in you, to see your talents and how you bring joy to the world. Who was that? Oh, wow, what a beautiful reading. I feel like I want to take another Believe in Your Magic card to finish off the reading. So I've got the deck here. Let's just pull one more card to finish off the reading. Well, we thank Auntie Gladys for being here. God rest her soul. She wants to be seen and known. I see you, Auntie Glad. Thanks for popping in. You're all over this with the sunshine, aren't you? All we need now is a few daffodils. Daffodils really remind me of her. I wasn't able to go to her funeral, but I bought some daffodils and made a little what do you call it? Altar for her. Yeah, next to my inner child. Here we go, 41, sundress. Again, it's about the sun, but she is not in the sunshine. She is not glowing up in the sunshine. Oh, I did a reading on glowing up your energy. Check it out on here if you've got time. She's out in the cold. She is frozen out in the cold. This is giving me Five of Pentacles vibes from the tarot deck. Feeling out in the cold. I feel like I want to wrap her in a blanket and hold her close. She doesn't seem to mind though. Perhaps she likes the fresh air on her face. She's saying, do it for you, don't do it for anyone else. And I think that's always true. Whatever you decide to do this year, do it because you want to do it. Do it because it's your dream. You've wanted to do it as a child. What is it you've wanted to do as a child that you keep putting off, or you keep putting other things in front of that you make more important than? Do it for you. Do it for you, because when you are lit up inside, when your light is shining, that's beautiful energy for other people. It gives them permission to do the same. But also it means that you're giving from a full cup when you're lit up. You're not giving from a place of feeling heavy and tired. What a beautiful energy that this reading has had today. And thank you all for listening. Now, how can we send out healing energy to everyone that's listening, especially for the people that might be grieving? And we can help them slow down. What emoji can we put in the comments? You could put some snowflakes in the comments. You could put a book in the comments. You could put a sunshine in the comments, or a daffodil, or a wise owl. I think there's an owl emoji, isn't there? Whatever resonates for you, that you feel that you want to leave, to send out positive energy to the other people listening. And if you'd like to leave a comment below and let me know how this reading resonated with you, I'm always delighted to hear from you all. So before I go, I just want to remind you that our next journaling class is on Wednesday, the 31st of January 2024. It's at 8 o'clock. It's on Zoom. It will be a small, intimate group. We will journal together for an hour using the cards as prompts. And you will come away feeling lighter and brighter, with clarity, having probably learnt something about yourself and your life. And I want that for everyone. There's the teacher. We're always learning, aren't we? And if we're always learning, we're growing. And I think for me, that's one of my values. That's part of life here on Earth. But bringing together the Earth and the intuition and the spirit and the other realms. All right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.